Hi everyone, we're here for another edition of the Schools and Agents Bulletin, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the importance, whether you are a school or an agent who's trying to reach people on social media, and we're going to look at the importance of understanding your audience. This is something I've spoken about before. It is something that is extremely important when you are using social media marketing as a digital tool. And the reason why it's important is simply because different people speak different languages. And I'm not just talking about whether they speak Spanish or English or French or Italian or Portuguese or Chinese or any other language. I'm talking about what matters to them. So when you are communicating with people through social media, you need to be driving home a message that they are going to be open to receiving, which is why it's very important for you to understand what matters to them and what kind of content they like to see on social media. So one of the first questions that you need to be asking yourself when you are creating digital content for social media marketing campaigns is to ask yourself, where are my students? Where is my target audience? Where are the parents I'm trying to reach? Or where are the schools or the agents that I'm trying to reach? Because obviously in international education, we target different people. So we sometimes put up posts on our channels to target direct students. We sometimes put up posts on our channels to target parents. We sometimes put up posts on our channels to target agents, or vice versa. If I am an agent, to target schools, because I might be looking for something specific. And the kind of content that I post needs to reflect the target audience that I have. Which brings me to my next point, cross-posting. A lot of people believe in cross-posting because, let's face it, I mean, we've all fallen victim to it. I myself have done it because it's easy. It's the easiest thing to do, and it's the easiest thing to just create something and then post it on multiple channels. In my case, sometimes I can get away with it. I'm a little bit luckier in the sense that my target audience is generally one and the same. It's always B2B, so it's schools, agents, service providers. But even then, personally, I have to be careful because the kind of content that I post that is relevant to schools is not always relevant to agents and is not always relevant to service providers. In your cases, especially if you are either schools or agents and you're trying to reach, like I said before, students, parents, you have to be even more careful because there's an age gap. So what matters to students, for example, is content that is raw. Why? Students are used to following influencers on social media. When you're following influencers, one of the main things that influencers are very much into nowadays is the idea of showing raw content. So nothing that is very edited, nothing that is going to present potentially a distorted version of what the reality, what the truth is. So students are all about seeing raw content, even when you're posting things like testimonials. So I can give you a tangible example. When you're posting testimonials, don't worry too much about how perfect the background is, how perfect the music that you're using is, how well the different parts of the film that you're using gel into one another. It is much more credible to get a student sitting down, perhaps being interviewed by another student, or perhaps having a conversation with another student and simply talking about the school. Which brings me to yet another point, and I don't want to turn this into a super long video, but perhaps we can continue talking about these things even in future Schools and Agents bulletins. The idea of user-generated content. Because students are used to following influencers, then the idea of having content that is posted by other students as opposed to being posted by the school itself or by the agent themselves makes the content much more credible. So If you can get your students to post content on their own channels, tagging your school or tagging your agency, like that, your content is going to be much more present. And you hear me here today making a lot of emphasis on video content. Yes, when it comes to targeting students, video content is top. So, good photos, definitely nice photos of the destinations of students having fun by all means, but nothing is going to generate as much engagement as videos. Why? Because nowadays students follow Instagram, they follow TikTok, they follow YouTube, so they are very much into video content, which is why you need to be creating that kind of content in order to target them directly. When it comes to parents, that's a different story. When it comes to parents, you can come up with things like, for example, virtual tours with information, with resources, with blogs, with nice images. So content that is much more informative. Why? Because parents want to look at the content, they want to sit down, perhaps they want to discuss it at a later stage, so they want to refer back to it. So the kind of content that you prepare for parents needs to be a little bit different from what you are preparing for the students. So, and obviously we need to keep another thing in mind, and I close with this today. The social media platforms that you use need to reflect the target audience that you're creating the content for. So obviously you're going to find a lot of parents on Instagram, you're going to find a lot of parents on Facebook, but when it comes to kids, when it comes to the younger students, the presence is more on TikTok, presence is more on YouTube. So that is why you need to be creating content for all of these channels. I know that this is a big topic because every time we discuss this topic, even at events or with schools or with agents, it tends to open up a Pandora's box and a lot of questions tend to come up. Obviously, I would like to discuss all of these questions with you. So I suggest that if you have any specific questions related to the creation of content for social media channels, drop us a line underneath this video with your comment and your question, and in future videos we will address these topics directly. So like that, we will also be addressing your particular questions. As always, you can also get in touch with me via email or via social media, wherever you want. I am present on all of these places. So drop me a line wherever you feel comfortable and I'll definitely get in touch with you. And if needs be, we'll also set up a call to address your particular concerns. Thank you very much for following me today, and I look forward to hearing from you with the comments here below, like I said. Take care and have a lovely weekend, everyone.